What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. Terrence Bud Crawford throws shade at Errol Spence Jr. Did an interview with Joe Rogan, and it said he's going to the Hall of Fame with or without Spence. He says he wants to fight Errol Spence, but if the fight doesn't take place, he's satisfied with his boxing career. You look at what he's done in boxing. Undisputed at 140, winning a lightweight belt against Eric Burns in his hometown, home country of the UK, beating Jeff Horn for the WBO belt at 147 pounds, the guy that defeated Manny Pacquiao. He says his career is Hall of Fame bound and that Errol Spence needs him more than he needs Errol Spence, implying that Errol Spence right now is not a Hall of Fame fighter and needs to beat him to become a Hall of Fame fighter, is what I'm implying that he's saying in this interview with Joe Rogan. Now, Errol Spence Jr. has a fight coming up against Showtime Shawn Porter. If he wins that fight, then he fights Manny Pacquiao and defeats Manny Pacquiao. Errol Spence is a Hall of Fame fighter, just like Terrence Crawford is a Hall of Fame fighter right now. I do agree with T-Bud. Right now, if his career ended right now, he would be a Hall of Fame fighter. Errol Spence has got a little bit more work to do. I think he's got to beat Porter and then defeat Pacquiao, and I think then he's a Hall of Fame fighter. So I don't think he actually had to beat Terrence Crawford to become a Hall of Fame fighter. But I think if he wins his next two fights, and that's what he says he wants to do, fight Porter, after defeating Porter, he wants to fight Pacquiao and beat Pacquiao. And after that, he says he wants to sit down and talk with Terrence Bud Crawford about a fight in 2020. That fight probably will take place in spring or summer of 2020. That's what he said. Now, Terrence Crawford has a fight coming up against Kavaliauskas. That's what it looks like it's going to happen. They're looking at Omaha or New York for that fight. If it's in Omaha, it's going to probably be around in November sometime. If it's New York, it's going to be December 14th. That'll be a Heisman Trophy day. They'll probably put that fight on right after the Heisman Trophy ceremony. So that's a prime time date for ESPN Boxing. The last 2 years, Vasily Lomachenko has fought on that date. And this year, they're looking to give that to Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, Arum says he wants to sit down with Crawford and his team the week leading up to Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin. And they'll be discussing those two options. I think Top Rank will probably want Terrence Bud Crawford to re-sign with Top Rank. If he re-signs with them, they will give him that prestigious December 14th date to fight Kavaliauskas on in Madison Square Garden. Now, if I'm Terrence Bud Crawford, I say I'm not re-signing until you get me the Errol Spence fight. You get that fight for me, I will re-sign with you guys. Same thing that Daniel Jacobs did with Eddie Hearn. He said, you want me to re-sign with you in the zone in Matchroom USA? Give me the Canelo Alvarez fight, and I will re-sign with you. Eddie went out there and made it happen, and Daniel Jacobs re-signed with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom Boxing in the zone. So that's what I think is the same scenario that's going to have to play out in order for Top Rank Boxing to re-sign Terrence Bud Crawford. So we'll see how it plays out, man. But, you know, I think Terrence Crawford is kind of frustrated. He's looking for a real big fight. You know, he wants to show that he's a top dog at 147 pounds. And he just got to stay winning, man. Actually, Errol Spence is really doing the heavy lifting in this equation. He's fighting Shawn Porter. And Shawn Porter is the number 3 rated welterweight, in my opinion. And he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao, who I have as a number 4 rated welterweight behind. I look at these are my ratings. I got Terrence 1, Spence 2, Showtime Porter 3, and Pac 4. Now Pac, you can make a case that Pacquiao is number 1 based on beating Keith Thurman, an undefeated champion at 147 pounds. So you can make a case, a strong argument that Manny Pacquiao is number 4. So if he could beat arguably the number 3 guy and a number 4 guy at welterweight, you know, I think that solidify Errol Spence. And you look at the guys he beat, not just at that number 3 and number 4. You look at Manny Pacquiao, first ballot Hall of Famer. You look at Showtime Shawn Porter. He's got an argument that he's a Hall of Famer. You look at his career, beating Adrian Broner, beating Devin Alexander, beating Paulie Malignaggi. He beat some good guys on his resume. And the only 2 fights if he lost, he arguably won. Very close fights. Kell Brook and Keith one-time Thurman. So he's got a strong argument right now. So if he can defeat him and defeat Manny after that, Errol Spence Jr. is a Hall of Fame fighter. Now, Terrence Crawford is going to have to understand and accept the fact that if Errol Spence is victorious against Porter and Manny Pacquiao, that he's not going to get a 50-50 split. I know he said recently that he's not going to be no B-side in that fight. He wants 50-50, and he feels that he's the A-side. But you're not the A-side. A-side is not about, you're rated higher than Spence. You're number one on a lot of pound-for-pound lists. Spence is not rated number one on any pound-for-pound list I've seen. He's probably, I got him like number 2 on my list, and he's pretty much top 5 in pretty much all lists I've seen, but he's not number 1 on anybody's list. It's usually been Terrence Crawford, Vasily Lomachenko, or Canelo Alvarez, depending on what pound-for-pound list you're looking at. But Errol Spence Jr. has done the most successful pay-per-view. You look at what he did against Mikey Garcia. He did around, 400,000 pay-per-views for the Mikey Garcia fight. Terrence Bud Crawford did 60,000 against Victor Postal, and did around 120,000 against Amir Khan. So and you look at what he does. It depends on what he does against Sean Porter. He got a fight coming up with Porter. We'll see what he does against that. If he can produce similar numbers that he did with Garcia, then that's gonna set up a fight with Manny Pacquiao. And if I project that fight to probably do around at least 750,000 pay-per-view. A lot of people are projecting that fight to do 1 million pay-per-view. So he's coming off of 2 pay-per-views that have done at least 400,000 and up to 750,000. And it's and you've got a pay-per-view that's your highest one. Terrence Bud Crawford, I'm talking about. Your highest pay-per-view was Amir Khan, and that did 120,000, maybe 160,000 max. There's no way you're going to be able to come to the negotiating table saying you want 50-50, man. The numbers are just not adding up in your favor to be calling for 50-50. So he's going to have to accept the fact that he's not going to be the A-side. If Errol Spence offers him 60-40, Terrence Bud Crawford is going to have to take that and run with it. Because actually, he could be like, you need, since you look at your numbers, you need to be getting about 33% if you just really go by the numbers. But I think Terrence Bud, I think Errol Spence Jr. and his team, if they, trying to make the fight that everybody been asking for the last year and a half, offer Terrence Crawford 60-40, that would be more than fair for Terrence Crawford and his team to accept. So, but if they still talking about this 50-50 and I'm the A-side, the numbers are just not adding up. You're looking at what Errol Spence Jr. is generating and what you're generating. It's not adding up to a 50-50 deal. He's doing better numbers, doing better pay-per-view numbers, and doing better TV ratings numbers. I think Terrence Crawford fight against Jose Benavidez Jr., it did around 3 million pay-per-views, a little over 3 million, somewhere between 3 million to 3.5 million TV viewers for that fight. Errol Spence did 6 million pay-per-views for Leonard Bundu. That was coming off the Olympics, after the U.S. men's basketball team gold medal victory. That fight happened right after that game, and he was able to do 6 million TV views for that Leonard Bundu fight that was on NBC. So he's got you in the TV ratings, and he got you in the pay-per-view ratings. But yet still, you want 50-50. It's not going to happen, Terrence Bud Crawford. You're a great fighter. Like I said, I got you number 1 on my list, but it's not about that. It's about what you bringing to the table on a revenue basis. And your numbers are just not adding up to Terrence Bud, not adding up to Errol Spence Jr.'s numbers. So we'll just see how it plays out, man. But again, Terrence Bud Crawford throwing shade at Errol Spence Jr., saying, I'm going to the Hall of Fame with or without you. You need me, I don't need you. So we'll see if Errol Spence responds to that. But he's getting ready for a big fight with Sean Porter, September 28th, Fox pay-per-view, Los Angeles Staples Center. So he might not have time to respond to that, but if somebody get an interview with him, they'll probably bring that up, and we'll see what he responds to that. He responded to what Uncle Tim Bradley said when he said that Spence was ducking Crawford. So I'm sure he probably respond to what Crawford said about him. So we'll see what happens, man. See what Errol Spence got to say about it. This is JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. I holla.